Hey guys, and welcome to another Warframe video. We're going to be taking a look at a bit of an alternative for a defensive frame, and that is the synergy I call Assimilating Defense for Nyx. Now, I know it means literally nothing to anybody right now. Well, it's basically, for me, a replacement or at least an alternative to the meta of if defending an objective, bring Frost or bring Limbo. Those two are pretty much the staple of any sortie defending style mission: defense, interception, mobile defense or excavation. That standard of Frost or Limbo, I mean, it's pretty easy. Standard objective, press 3 for Frost, 4 for Limbo, or banish for the sortie defense, and basically GG. Now, there is an alternative, and that is the Assimilating Defense Nyx. As you know, I did a video on the Assimilate augment for Nyx recently. However, during the making of that, I had the idea of using a Nyx as a replacement for a Frost or Limbo in these defense style missions, with a very team oriented loadout. Nyx is a hugely versatile frame, as you know, taking control of single enemies with mind control, controlling huge areas of the map and enemies within it with her chaos, and now she can be a tank with her Assimilate bubble. So why can this synergy not be put to work as a defender of objectives, replacing those standard frames? The gameplay is really simple. Activate your Absorb, stay as close to the objective as possible using Absorb to defend the target, whether that be a defense pod or a moving target like Darvo was in the last few alerts, or even an excavator. When you're doing that, you are mind controlling important target like Bursas, for example, turning the entire room against each other, minimising the actual damage incoming to the target in the first place. But if you're going to be tethered to the defense target, you're going to need some decent fire support, right? Well, for this I went with a status based Torrid as my primary, with basically as big of an AoE as possible with Firestorm. I've got Continuous Misery on there to keep the status procs going as long as possible, and also Terminal Velocity help with accurately placing the clouds where they need to go. For the Corpus, I usually go with Toxin and the Bane of Corpus mod, so we can basically put up a massive wall of Toxin procs that the fleshy enemies have to move through to be able to get to the target, and that includes Nullifiers, so it kills them very quickly. Corrosive Heat or Viral Heat against the Grineer or the Corrupted, depending on whether or not we have Corrosive Projection, and then Corrosive and Heat against the Infested. Corrosive procs, they're going to do nothing, but the heat will cause them to flail around a lot. For this, we're literally just locking down avenues of approach. Doors, hallways, that sort of thing, so the enemies that want to attack the pod are going to have to move through it, effectively acting like a defensive wall of status procs and damage, just the thing to help you defend your objective. Now, I am going to be doing a Torrid build video soonish, since this is only one of my two builds for it, but this is the setup that I use for the Assimilating Defense. Now, the secondary weapon of choice for me is the Sonic Ore. Barely any change to the build in the video I did previously, not a difficult one to understand really. This is mostly for the knockdown, as a weapon of panic when enemies get too close to the objective and you need to bounce them away. The Sonic Ore is easily the weapon of choice for that. Now, the melee weapon for me is the Akan Brunt. Now, the Akan Brunt itself is a fantastic weapon, good stance, decent damage, blood rush, body count viable, and it looks incredible. However, the reason I use it is for the newish mod, Electromagnetic Shielding. What this does is if you have the melee weapon equipped and you're blocking, it will link to any friendly units within 12 meters of you and divert 50% of the damage they take to yourself. Now, this sounds mad. Why would you take the damage yourself? Well, if you have the Electromagnetic Shielding up, as well as the Absorb, then your damage just gets absorbed by that, meaning that the synergy between Assimilate and EM Shielding is incredible and can be a massive help to your team if you're in a bad situation, even if the range is a little bit short for my liking. But as you can see in the background, this is the top level sortie for the day, and I am solo on Nyx. Imagine doing that before the Assimilate mod came in. There's nobody else in the group, and we're defending the objective just fine. Now, I'm not going to say that this tactic is as good as Frost or Limbo, because it's not. It's really strong if you're paying attention and not half asleep when, like I was when I recorded the footage. Grenades are your greatest enemy, because your Absorb is so small that you have to be so close to the objective, and it means that if you drop your Chaos and when you're not paying attention, or new enemies come in that you haven't noticed, they can throw a grenade, and that can be a huge chunk of damage off on your defense target, especially at sortie level. But played properly, the combination of Chaos and Assimilate Absorb means that for the most part, things are going to be fighting each other, and even if there is that one guy that's close enough to you to aggro, more often than not you can deal with him quickly enough for him to do no damage at all. And with the correct switching of weapons, You can bounce high value targets around with the Sonic Core, put up walls of torrid status procs, or take half of your teammates' damage if they're close enough to you. This absorb augment really has given Nyx a new lease of life, and this could be one of the ways that she's used. As I say, it isn't as effective as Frost Bubble or Limbo's Cataclysm, but if you can solo a top level sortie with it, you know, that's good enough for me, especially if you have time to stop fighting and do your synthesis target at the same time. Warframe is a game with a lot of possibilities, but people flock to the meta, the easy way to do things. Nyx isn't easy, but played well, she can be just as useful for defensive missions as the other two. Give her a try, you might just be pleasantly surprised. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, it was an idea I came up with during the Darvo alerts, and have been wanting to make a video on since. If you have any weird and wonderful loadouts you'd like me to try, chuck me a message in the comments below, and I will give them a go, and if they're good, I will feature them in another video. As always though, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.